never really divine. My mom decided when I was 5 to put me into a German immersion elementary school. So I spoke German in school and English at home from when I was 5 until I was like 11. I don't have any German relatives. There was no reason for this. My mom was just like, this seems like it would be harder than regular school, so I'm going to make you do this. And so I did. Which is why I thought it would be relatively easy to live in Germany during college for like 4 months. Because I was like, I'm practically German. Like, obviously I would totally be fine. So in college I kept taking German because that was like the only thing I knew how to do. And I was a linguistics major, so we had to have a language anyway. Oh, hi! There are not very many of us, that's cool. And so it was my language, it was my baby. And so I was like, I can do this. Yeah, I'll be German. They won't even know the difference. So I lived in Berlin for 4 months and I worked for a PR company involving cold calling reporters and editors in German at like the most major magazines and newspapers possible, which was exciting. But I think the hardest part actually ended up being adjusting to the high standards that they had for like deportment and, you know, the way that you looked. It all had to be kind of at a level of perfection that I was not used to up until that point. E.g., there was a time that I had a run in my stocking, and you would think that I had murdered someone and had the blood all over me because 4 people stopped me on the walk into work, strangers, to tell me that I had a run in my stocking. And then at lunch, after my boss had thrown an ashtray at me, for no real reason, he said when I was an intern, they threw an ashtray at me. So I feel like you should have the same experience. Or it's just not the whole internship kebab. And so I had this run in my stocking and I was visibly crying, and so my coworker was like, you know what, let's go get you some new tights. And so that was our thing. That was her like relaxing thing for me. It was like, we're gonna make you look okay and like normal again. So the thing is that their train system is really weird in Berlin. Here, you know, you buy the ticket, you put it in the slot, you get it out the other side, and you went through the style, but they don't have a style on the Berlin train. You just have the ticket and you hold it. And then, this is so typical of them, they love to getcha. You have the ticket and you have to have it on you, and there is a spy who gets onto the train looking like a normal person. And then when the doors close on the train, they're like, all right, everybody, tickets out. Like, show them to me. And if you don't have the right ticket at the right time, then, well, this happens. Which is, I had bought the student ticket, but I bought the wrong student ticket. I bought the one for like 15-year-olds, and I was a college student, and they were like, this doesn't seem right. Do you have all of your student documentation? And I was like, what? What do you mean? And I showed them my student ID, thinking that that would do anything at all, but no, there was a form I was supposed to have filled out the second I got to Germany saying like, I am a student living in Germany. And just like every single other thing, there was supposed to be a form. So I didn't have the form, and they were like, oh, well, obviously you're not a student, so you're gonna have to pay a 70 € fine. But you can't pay it now, even though I had 70 euros on me. Also, I didn't have my passport on me, which pissed them off even more. And they were like, you have to go to this other office on the opposite side of Berlin to go pay it, and you have to do it a week from today. And I was like, okay. And they're telling me this while they're like taking notes and just scowling at me, like, how could you possibly get this wrong? And so I went there, and I stood in line, and I was standing in line with a bunch of people at this office, and I had gone to this right place at the right time, and I was like, totally gonna do this right. I had the money and everything. And then I was like 2 people back, and the person who was processing all of the claims leaned around all of the people in line to look at me and said, stop cracking your knuckles. Any doctor will tell you to stop cracking your knuckles. It's not bad. And I was just like, I'm sorry for existing in Germany. And so once I got to the front of the line, finally I got to like do the whole thing, and I was like, here, I have all of my documents. Look, I have my passport, I have the thing, I have the piece of paper they gave me, I'm totally ready. Look, I got the money, I'm ready to go. And they were like, oh, well, I mean, you went through all of this trouble. Like, you went through and filled all the right forms out, you got to the front of the line, that's great. Why don't you go around the side of the building and show them all of those forms again on a different side, and then you can get your new ticket. And I was like, excellent. So because at that point that was good news. So I ran around the side of the building, got in a different line. They did not tell me to stop cracking my knuckles because I learned to stop doing that. Got up to the front and they were like, oh wow, you did an excellent job. Like, we're super proud of you for like going through all of these hoops as an American. You don't have to pay the fine anymore. And I was like, I really I got my ticket, I didn't have to pay the fine, and I got out and I realized that they had printed it for the wrong month. And so I had to go back to the line, and I had to do all of this stuff over again, and they scowled at me even worse than before when I got to the front, and I was just like, I'm so relieved. I am like not a German person because I couldn't do it. I just like couldn't live up to it. Thank you so much.